Koalas are one of Australia's most loved animals. They have a spectacular array of characteristics and adaptations that set them apart from the other marsupials that share our country. The koalas are found throughout the eastern and southern parts of Australia through the woodland and the forested regions. But they're under threat. They're under pressure from development, from forestry and logging, and their habitat is disappearing. One place they spend a lot of time though is in the suburbs of our major cities. So we're going to be exploring the koala and understanding a little about its physiology and its adaptations. So let's go take a look. Koalas are marsupials, which means they carry their young in a pouch. The young are born about the size of a jelly bean and make their way to the pouch. Each koala usually has one young, very occasionally they'll have twins. They'll carry the young in the pouch for about 6 months, and then the young will emerge and initially sit on the chest of the female, and then as it gets bigger, move to the back. At about 6 months, the mother produces a chemical called pap, which the youngsters eat, and that gives them some specific bacteria to help them digest their food. The koalas are arboreal, which means they climb trees, and they eat gum leaves. In fact, they're one of only about 3 species of marsupial that will eat gum leaves. The koalas will eat anywhere up to 40 different types of eucalypt leaves from about the 600 or 700 types of eucalypt that are found in the Australasian area. The koala doesn't get a lot of nutrients from the gum leaves, and it also picks up some toxins called tannins. So they need to eat a lot of them, and koalas eat for about 3 hours a day, and then they need to sleep. And they'll sleep for about 16 hours digesting this food. Leaves provide more than just nutrients. They also provide the water that the koala needs for its daily intake. Sometimes in the summer when the leaves dry out, the koalas need to come down to drink. But through most parts of the year, they gain enough water from their leaves for their daily needs. Koalas will live for about 14 years in the wild, and they start to reproduce at about age 3. When the males are entering the breeding season, which is in about September through to the end of summer, they will roar and call and make a tremendous noise to attract females and ward off other males. They'll also produce scent from a gland in their front, which they'll wipe onto trees to mark their territory. Koalas are not bears. In fact, they have no relationship at all with the bears of the Northern Hemisphere. As marsupials, koalas have a lot of specific and really interesting adaptations. They have 2 opposable thumbs that they use for holding onto their trees. They have 2 claws on their back feet, which they use for grooming. They have a wonderful set of ears, and they have very, very powerful, acute hearing. The koalas have different coloured fur, which they use for either absorbing heat or reflecting it, depending on the temperature.
This is Jay, and he's one of our beautiful adult males, and he's enjoying a lovely bit of feed of manna gum tip at the moment, which is one of the 6 species that they'll feed here in South Australia. And as you can see, he's enjoying the nice tender shoots, which is like koala chocolate really. But just like all good things, if you have too much, it can cause a bit of a tummy upset.
The history of koalas in South Australia is very interesting. Before 1836, koalas were restricted to the southeastern corner of the state. Koalas were very actively hunted throughout their range through the 19th and the early part of the 20th century. And in fact, millions of koalas were killed for their fur. Koalas were extinct in the southeast by about the 1900s. In the 1920s, there was a plan to reintroduce koalas to the state, initially by bringing a handful of koalas from French Island in Victoria to Kangaroo Island, where they were released. Koalas were released in the Eyre Peninsula, along the Riverland, and in the Mount Lofties through the 1950s and the 1960s. Since then, the koala numbers have expanded dramatically. Throughout their range, koalas face a large number of threats. Deforestation, diseases such as chlamydia, and urbanisation have greatly reduced their range. It is estimated that up to 4,000 koalas a year are killed by pets or cars. We are so lucky here in Australia that we can share our cities, our backyards, our streets and our parks with so many wonderful different types of wildlife. And the koalas are no exception. How incredibly fortunate are we that we can have a large, beautiful, relatively harmless animal coming through our backyards, using our space with us at the same time. What should you do if you see a koala? The first thing is to leave it alone. The koala might be passing through, or it might spend a few days in that gum tree down the back of your place. Keep your dog away from the koala, and if you feel like it, you can put out a dish of water, because sometimes koalas like to come down and have a drink, and the koala will move on. But sharing our space with these magnificent animals is a really lucky, fortunate, thrilling thing for us to be able to do.
It's something that we've never done in South Australia. Great way to get out and about. But also learn more about our koalas, where they are, the habitats they're utilising, and where our population densities are. So it'd be really, really great. So I'm looking forward to it.
If you live anywhere in South Australia where there are koalas, and you're interested in finding out more about these wonderful animals, then get involved in the Great Koala Count. And thank you for helping us find out more about these animals by being our citizen scientists. Remember two things: your personal safety is the most important, and secondly, these are wild animals, so take great care and do not attempt to touch any animal.